Hi, I'm Mike Edwards. The company is Home Improvement Doctor Limited and we're part of the DIY Doctor Group. And we're down here on our test site in Somerset looking at some tools and products that give you the answers to some of the questions you've asked us over the years. We can't always be out on site where we prefer to film to keep it real. So we've constructed a little film studio here with a little workshop so that we can show you some of the things easily, regardless of the weather and the jobs that we've got going on. So if there's any noise in the background, apologies now, but it is a working site. Now, today we're going to be talking about something really very, very clever indeed. It's a NWS 6-in-1 side cutters. This is an electrician's tool, and immediately I mentioned the fact that it's electrician's tool. I have to give you a warning about Part P of the building regulations. There's an awful lot of electrical work in your home that you're not legally allowed to do. So please check our website diydoctor.org.uk. Go on to the Part P section to find out what you can and what you can't do. There is some work you can do. You can work on existing sockets in your home, and a pair of side cutters is a very handy tool indeed. I've seen home improvers with small sets of side cutters like this. Indeed, a great many electricians have got small side cutters like this, and home improvers use a variety of tools for stripping wires and cables. This is a flex stripper. This is a more standard wire stripper where the wire goes in the jaws and is stripped by pulling the trigger. So the 6-in-1 cutter that we're going to show you today does all of the jobs that all of the other things do. It's a normal pair of side cutters, but if you can see by looking at that quite closely, there are various cuts in the blades that allow us to strip cables a lot easier. I don't know how many site electricians will use these, because you get a feel over the years for just pushing the blade in a little bit and getting a feel when you've touched the copper to strip the outer sleeve off without having the nicks in the cable. But for a home improver, these are a great idea. You know you're not going to get any nicks in the cable, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. But the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is a very, very common problem that we get a whole lot, we get asked a whole lot, and it's when somebody has the screw for a light socket cover or a light switch cover plate or even a pattress box. So these go through the cover plate into the pattress box and screw the cover plate tight. Sometimes the screw is too long, and we get asked very often, how do I cut that screw down do I have to go and buy shorter screws, or can I cut this down with a hacksaw or whatever? You can. It's very difficult trying to hold that and saw it at the same time, and many people will testify to the fact that it also gets very hot when you're sawing it. These people, NWS, one of the 6 jobs that this cutter does is actually cut this screw down to any size you like. And you can see, hopefully the cameraman can pick up, there's a little hole in the cutter, and you simply push the screw through, squeeze. You don't have to squeeze very hard, and there we go. So we've cut at least 3/4 of an inch from the screw, and that was such a simple operation. I'll do that again in case you missed it. We push the screw through the hole, and then I'm really not applying much pressure at all, and you can see I've cut that off, and it doesn't damage the thread at the end, so that can be used very easily. So that's job number 1, and that's a very, very good application in these pliers. Job number 2 is obviously stripping cables. I've got 2 sizes of cables here. This is a 2.5mm cable for a ring main circuit. This is a 1.5mm cable for a lighting circuit. I'll just do this with the 2.5 to demonstrate what I'm going to show you. So when an electrician strips a cable ready for use, he'll cut down the middle of the sheath, and he'll fish about in there for the earth wire, which is actually a little bit further down. So we'll grab the earth, which is the bare copper cable in the middle, and we'll use that to split the cable a little bit more. Hope the camera's picking that up. Okay, so that's the earth wire, and we've used that to strip the outer sheath of the cable, leaving the positive and negative, or positive and neutral cables in the middle. Now we're going to strip those, and so we look onto these and we can see that we've got a 2.5mm notch marked, ready for a 2.5mm cable. So we can just drop that in there and strip the end off easily, just like that. So we'll drop that in there, strip the end off, and that's easily done. So we've stripped the end off of the cable and we're ready to wire that into our existing socket. Of course, we mustn't forget when we're doing that to drop some earth sleeving over the earth cable. And if we're not going to use a 2.5 cable on a light, but were this a 1.5 and we were going to use it to wire up a light switch, then we should drop some live sleeving over the cable to show that this particular neutral cable is in fact live. Okay, so that anybody following us knows that it's a live cable. So there's another couple of jobs that the wire stripper can do, make it very, very easy to strip cables down. Now, rather than do the 1.5, I've got some automotive flex here, some wire, and another one of the jobs that this machine does is to strip that using the 1.5 millimeter notch in the cutter, and it will allow us to crimp as well. So we're going to put an adapter on the end of that wire, and using the crimping notch, we're just going to squeeze on there, and we have got a very, very strong connection there. Hopefully the camera can get a close-up of that to see that that's crimped successfully there. There's another notch in there for bending longer electrodes or connectors, and all in all, the NWS 6-in-1 cutter, a very, very useful tool. As I said, it's probably not something that a site electrician would use, but for a home improver, it's a very useful tool that's going to make a lot of jobs, 6 jobs in fact, much easier than they are at the moment. The NWS cutter, 6-in-1 cutter, is available from Screwfix, normally next day delivery, and well worth getting. Really well worth getting. DIY Doctor recommends this tool for the home improver.